All right, we are live here for this special edition of the New Warehouse podcast, coming to you live for wherever you're watching. We are on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on X. So wherever you're tuning in, if you want to drop a comment and just say hi and say what's up, and yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So today, we're going to talk about something that I really like to talk about, but I think my guest likes to talk about even more than me. I'm going to be joined by Pam Simon, and she is the conference chair and EVP of programming over at Manifest. And if you haven't heard, Manifest is a supply chain conference trade show that has just been kind of taking the industry by storm, I will say. And I think a lot of people talking about it, certainly super high buzz around it every single year that it's been around. It's only been around for a couple of years. So we're going to dive into all things Manifest and learn kind of like what's coming up here in 2026. We're, I guess we're just about like 2 months out, a little under 2 months out, actually. So we'll be getting the scoop from Pam. So Pam, welcome in. Thanks for joining me today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And I think we had this conversation just around the same time a year ago, talking about Manifest 2025. And since then Manifest has continued to grow and got acquired too, right? So that's like huge news as well, and really exciting stuff going on. So why don't you maybe kick it off here, and just for people that don't know what Manifest is, first off, like what are you doing? Where have you been? But you tell us what is Manifest? What is it all about?
Well, first, it'll be February 9 to 11 at the Venetian in Las Vegas. So mark your
Hmm.
calendars. Manifest is the only global end-to-end supply chain event. So if you are in the process of moving goods, creating goods, investing in it, you definitely need to be at the show. It is full end to end. And what's really unique about Manifest is that it's a full ecosystem event.
Mm.
So on the investor side, there are hundreds of different funds of all sizes, shippers, it's vertically agnostic. So anyone that is moving goods, fresh, pharma, big box, CPG, OEM, you name it. All of the tech across wearables, robotics, drones, you name it, executives from ports and airports. And so, in addition to the content, which we have about 155 sessions, there's a whole experiential side of the show. So, you really can see, touch, feel, interact with all of the latest technologies, robots, vehicles, cars, you name it. And then it's Vegas. Like, we get weird, we have fun. There's really there's something for everyone. You can kind of choose your own adventure, from rosé all day to mocktails if you don't drink, the puppy lounge, which is still my favorite thing.
We
Uh,
love the puppies. Yes, of
lots of
course.
unique ways to build and strengthen your relationships across the industry. And then we announced that Tayo Cruz will be performing for our closing party.
Hey, okay, all right, and always good with the closing parties there, and I think that it's an exciting time, and we have another Kevin here chiming in the comments saying looking forward to the event. 10 to last year, it was fantastic. Premier supply chain event in North America. Love the name, Kevin. I will say, but love the support for Manifest too as well. So, very exciting, and definitely something that I think it's become this kind of premier event, as Kevin said there, and like you said, Pam, it brings in together kind of all these different people from different parts of the industry, which I think makes it super interesting to see. And brings a lot of that kind of innovation to the table as well. So from your perspective, I mean, who should be at Manifest? I guess who should be there, and also like who will be there?
Well, I mean, again, if you are in the process of moving goods around the world, whether it's ocean, air, over the road, rail, you need to be at the show.
Mm,
For shippers, it's all sizes. So no matter what size of product that you have or that you're shipping out, whether it's wholesale or B2B, B2C, D2C, you name it, definitely should be attending. And if you are on the tech side and creating new ways to add visibility, efficiency, cost-effective approaches to the movement of goods, then where are you? Go get your tickets and join us at Manifest.
Definitely, definitely. I love that. And I think it's so interesting to see. Somebody actually asked me the other day, like, why do I go to Manifest? Why do I go to Manifest, right? And my answer was that I go there because I think that's like where you see some of the latest, right? And some of that tech that you mentioned there, and see some of the innovations, and you have a great focus on the startup side too as
Yeah.
well, right? You mentioned like the investor mix that comes in and this whole kind of startup area. So really great to see that kind of coming in. And you mentioned the 100 some sessions, content sessions going on. So if it wasn't enough to like, see all the things on the floor and all those things that are coming in, you also have tons of sessions to get the latest insights and education and things within there. So tell us a little bit about that because you recently announced the full agenda. So tell us like some of the highlights that stand out to you. Is there certain things you're looking forward to, and what are some of the kind of big themes of the year?
Yes, our full agenda is live. We've been working tirelessly on it and have an incredible lineup of speakers. We really do try to, or we really do wipe the agenda and have a whole fresh new faces of speakers from around the world every year.
Mhm.
So you're hearing new perspectives and new ideas that are coming across. For me, living in Miami, there's a lot of talk when it comes to cross-border or nearshoring, reshoring.
Sure.
So there's definitely a spotlight on there. And I think personally, I'm looking forward to hearing from Estee Lauder, New Balance, Church Dwight, XRC, and McKinsey, because they're going to be discussing how to drive digitally enabled, cost-effective manufacturing. So
Mm.
I think that's a really important area. When it comes to automation and robotics, it's hard to pick just one session because honestly, we're so honored and we're so lucky to have incredible CEOs from Lab Zero, Corvus Robotics, River, Bedrock, Locus, Persona, AI, Dane, EVBots, and more. So the
Mm.
automation side of things, I feel like it just gets better and better and more exciting every year.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to sustainability, scaling, energy and electric solutions to re-commerce and circularity, there's a lot of interest when how these companies are approaching it and different ways that will impact your business across your entire business. So it's that one I'm really looking forward to. We have some incredible keynotes from American Eagle Outfitters, from DHL,
Mm.
FIG, Exotech, Pfizer, Author, Dollar General, Bersdorf, and more. So our plenary stage is very stacked and excited to hear what these executives are going to be sharing with us. Our women's luncheon, which is always a favorite, with Geodis
Yeah.
Americas and Return Bear. So we have two incredible women that will be taking over that stage. And I mean, because Manifest is the only show that is end to end, we're covering so many areas from procurement and planning to risk mitigation, of course, AI and driving digital enabled efforts, cost effective manufacturing, the global supply chain, and really just cross border within the four walls and last mile. So there's so many. That's the beauty of this industry. There's just so many exciting directions to go in.
Yes, absolutely. It's always exciting, right? There's always something else to look at, and it sounds like you're covering a lot of them there. And I will say, last year or this year, I keep saying last year. I keep forgetting it's the same year because it's like in the beginning or at the end here. But women's lunch, loved it. It was Girl Scouts, right? The Girl Scout cookies on the table was fantastic as well, and also hearing the stories too. So that's always great, and really kind of diverse set of companies there from the keynote perspective, which I think is fantastic because you mentioned there's so many different areas of the supply chain we can go down and things, but then within that there's so many different industries too, right, and different product types that are handled and things of that nature. So I'm curious, like from your perspective and like your personal opinion, like what gets you like really excited about the supply chain and this world.
I think that there's still so much room for change and disruption, right? I think every time you open the news, there's something new that's happening. There's another company that's figured out a way to impact your sustainability or visibility. I think that I think it's there's just so much room for change, and I think there's so many different areas within the supply chain that can be adjusted so that we, as companies, can have a more holistic approach and full view of where their goods are, where are the chokeholds, and how they can be solved.
Mm, absolutely, and I think that's a great way to put it because it is so much has been for a long time, but recent, in the recent years, has really gotten the spotlight on kind of like how much the supply chain just supports these businesses and what we utilize and need every single day in our lives. So it's a fantastic place to be in. So as we look at manifest every year, and this is going to be what this is like the fifth
This
year.
will be the fifth, yeah.
Fifth, right? So fifth anniversary, and in a short time, obviously grown a ton, right, and expanded and added new things and fun things, educational things, right? You mentioned Rose all day, the puppies, right? I think fun, but also enables some good networking. I've heard actually a lot of good connections being made in the puppy area
It
before. I heard that's like a
honestly,
hot spot for connection. Yeah.
it really is. The puppies really humanize everybody. That's my favorite because it just makes everyone's on the same level. Everyone's very excited to be with the puppies.
Yes, yes. Interesting. It takes non-humans to humanize people, so that's very interesting. But so when we look at that, you've added some kind of new areas to manifest as well, and obviously the move to the Venetian as well this year, and expanding like the size of the floor, and now I'm really interested in the cold chain pavilion. I think that's a really interesting addition there. But you also added things like the procurement and sourcing symposium. So tell us a little bit about some of these new things that are happening for people that have been to Manifest before, and like what can they expect that's new this upcoming year.
Of course. So we did our first cold chain symposium this year. And again, the way that we add new topics or symposiums or areas is because we're talking to the industry. So I'm hearing it from all different directions, from all different perspectives. And clearly the industry has spoken. Cold chain and temperature control is an area that people are looking to expand into and make their processes more effective. So we had our first cold chain symposium this year, and it was packed, and the feedback was great. So we're taking it to the next level. It will have its own it'll have its own pavilion in the expo and its own dedicated stage for content, which is going to be sponsored by Lineage and High Tech. And
Nice.
we'll be diving into topics like building end-to-end partnerships for transparency and creating seamless cold chain ecosystem. And we have some incredible speakers lined up from Merck Global, Sun Pharma, Arctic, Vamo Delivery, Temper Pack, Americold, Avery Dennison, Cold Chain Alliance, and more. So really excited about that. It'll be 3 full days of content in the cold chain area. So very excited to be expanding there. And also a new symposium, as you mentioned, will be a procurement and sourcing stage,
Mhm.
where we'll be diving into the whole procurement playbook, right? The critical role of planning, risk mitigation and AI, as well as how to navigate global supply issues amid constant disruptions that we're all facing. And you'll be hearing from executives from Nordstrom, Patagonia, Tailored Brands, Source IQ, Intel, Tealbook, and so many more. So those are 2 areas that we're really excited about.
Yeah, that's fantastic, definitely. And procurement and sourcing, I think, is becoming very. I mean, it's been important forever, right? But it's becoming like a really hot thing. I actually just did a podcast recording with Jim Tompkins on Monday, and he was saying like that's one of his predictions for 2026 is that procurement is going to have this like huge spotlight on it from a strategic perspective. So of course, Manifest has got their finger on the pulse there, right? For sure. So looking forward to that. And you mentioned, I'm curious, you mentioned this year, like there was a cold chain symposium and now there's going to be a cold chain pavilion. So is that kind of like how the evolution works a little bit? Like give us a little picture behind the scenes. Like it starts with a symposium and then maybe it gets its own area on the floor. How does that evolve?
I mean, supply chain itself is such a vast area to cover, and as you mentioned, we can go down lots of different rabbit holes within just supply chain. So with cold chain as an example, we started it off, or it started coming up in my conversations a few years ago.
Mm,
So I started with having, 2 or 3 sessions in the show just as a tester to kind of see how the industry would react. And, based on that response, it pushed into doing a whole symposium around it. So a full day of
sure.
content. And then the feedback from there just grew. And I think we've seen a lot of new investments and acquisitions in the last year. UPS, FedEx, DHL have all kind of leaned further into temperature control. And then with cross-border and nearshoring and reshoring, there's all sorts of issues when it comes to temperature-related products and making sure that we don't waste, and there are ways to salvage what's there. So that's why we're leaning further into it. So I would say for 27, you can definitely expect some additional pavilions. I
Mm.
won't share yet, but we have some in mind, or I have some in mind.
Oh, a little tease there, a little tease. I was hoping for a little bit more, but we'll be excited to hear what that is going to be. And we had some people checking in the comments here. We got like I don't know, the whole Gather AI team. Shout out to Gather AI checking in here. And also Yandu too. Very exciting new technology from Yandu. I think they're going to be there as well.
Yeah.
So it'd be good to see them there. So so if anybody is listening and watching and they have questions about Manifest as well, this is your time to ask. So throw them in the comments, and I'm sure Pam will be happy to answer them. So so when we look at that, right, and we look at attending, we've kind of talked about everything that's going on at the show and things like that, but there's a lot happening, right? As you mentioned, right, there's a lot happening, packed into kind of 3 days there, and really trying to get the most out of that. So how do you recommend, and how have you maybe found attendees that are really getting the most out of the Manifest experience, and how do you maximize that to walk away with the most value?
So Manifest, it is big, it's large, it's over
Mhm.
500,000 square feet. So we are covering a lot of ground.
Huge.
The best way to take advantage of it, I think, first would be as soon as the app comes out, download the app and start coordinating and scheduling meetings. I would say the more you can schedule a little bit ahead of time, the better. So you won't be kind of scrambling.
Mhm.
What is the most unique thing about Manifest? That it is the ecosystem. So I guarantee if you're coming to the show, you definitely have partners, customers, clients, vendors, investors, suppliers that will be there from all over the world. And this is the opportunity to get that FaceTime with the folks that you're already, currently working with. So coordinate with all of those people in advance. Get together, have a dinner, have a coffee. It's always good to get that additional face-to-face time. There's a number of companies and funds that will host board meetings and offsites and other kind of private gatherings to get together. So it's important to touch base with all of your network to make sure that you're not missing anything. And then, remember to come prepared with comfortable shoes. You'll see me stomping around
Yes,
in my big,
100%. Yes.
yeah, comfortable shoes is a must. But yes, I would say plan ahead, and then and look at the attendees, look at the conference sessions, plan your agenda around which sessions are most relevant and valuable to you. And I always tell people, get to the room a few minutes early and talk to the people that are in the room, because I guarantee
Mm,
they're asking the same questions you are. They're looking for the same type of solutions. So there might be ways for you to find a new partner or customer or even friend in the room before things start. Some
yeah.
good content. And yes, comfortable shoes. It's always an important one, I feel like.
That's like one of the most important ones, I think, because
It
it
really
is
is.
kind of walking, whether it's like in the show itself or like you mentioned, like going to these happy hours or dinners, like after. I mean, even if it's in the same hotel, there's a lot of
There's so
walking
much walking. There's
in
so much
Vegas,
walking.
right?
So please
Yeah.
be comfortable. Come prepared for that. And have your coffee or whatever will pep you up in the morning,
Mhm.
and don't be shy, right? Like when you get there, like psych yourself up and be ready to talk to anybody and everybody, because you never know how that person will affect your business, your life, the growth of your company.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the one thing too is everybody there, to me, always seems like they're very open to connecting, right? And very open to the discussion, which I think is one of the great kind of atmospheres and environments you've created to be able to enable that. And I love that tip actually about like get to the session a couple minutes earlier and talk to the people that are in there. And that makes so much sense. I haven't really because I've done that in the past, but like just subconsciously and not like thought of it as a planning thing. But that makes so much sense because you're both interested in the same topic, right? So there's some similarities there, probably some learnings from just each other that you can gather off of and think a little further. So that's a great thing there to mention. Now what about arrival? When should people get to Vegas?
I mean, Sunday, if there's going to be a bunch
Yes.
of, so I mean, within the app, we will list out all the different third-party events that are taking place.
Hmm.
I know personally, I went to some great Super Bowl parties last year, so I was able to start
Yes.
connecting with some of our speakers, partners, customers before the show itself. Also, if you're someone like me that struggles with, the time difference, it's good to have a little bit of a buffer to get yourself on the right track on the right time, or the West Coast, at least for the East Coast people.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Uh, and then again, like talk to your customers and your partners and investors that are going to be at the show. There are so many dinners, cocktails, happy hours, and events that happen around Manifest. We will obviously be sharing the ones that are public and available to everybody, but there are
Mhm.
tons of other ones. Personally, I'm not invited to everything, so I can't give you a full list, but talk to your friends and then they can definitely fill you in on some of the more private events that will be taking place.
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned the Super Bowl. You stopped by our Super Bowl party last year with Spot Work, and we'll be doing that again this year. So I'll plug that here a little bit. We'll be doing it same place. We got a big suite at the Fountain Blue, and it'll be the New Warehouse podcast along with Spot Work and Conduit hosting that Super Bowl party. So I would say definitely come in on Sunday if you want to
Perfect.
hang, right? Because and talk to us about the Monday too, because Monday is kind of like I think you all call it like day zero or
Kickoff,
something
yeah,
like that,
day
right?
zero or kickoff day.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it's really just to be clear, the floor is not open on Monday.
Hmm.
We say that every year, and it's in all of our messaging, and still people are shocked and surprised that it's not.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Um, with over 500,000 square feet and a lot of big pieces moving around, it does take some time to set up.
Hmm.
So day zero, or our kickoff day, is broken into symposiums and starts at noon. So you can go to procurement and sourcing, maritime, sustainability, and cold chain. And then we'll have our kickoff party that night. So I
Hmm.
would say the first, that Monday is really jam packed with sessions and content as well as meetings.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So I think no matter what, whether you want to come to our Super Bowl party or you just want to be ready for Monday, come on Sunday, right? And Pam, you are absolutely 100% invited
I will
to
be
be there
there. I will be.
for
You
sure. Yeah.
count me in. I'm there.
Definitely, definitely. So really great to hear about that, and also I love the support from you all for these external events too, right? I think that's such a huge part of conferences and trade shows, and that's where a lot of like great networking and connections happen as well. So I think it's fantastic that you have that kind of site or calendar that shows some of those things as well. And if you're a
Thanks for hosting
company.
again, by the way, then. Thanks for hosting Super Bowl again. That was great. I actually, at last year's Super Bowl party that you got, or this year's, yeah, you got me all confused
Yeah,
now.
see, it's
Um,
hard, right?
so from this year's Super Bowl, it was great. I had some amazing conversations, and I got to meet a number of companies and startups, a few of which you'll actually see on stage next year.
Ooh, there we go. Well, that's what we like to do. We like to be the catalyst for some of these
I
things. So
think.
that's perfect to hear that. And we'll be having some fun again this year with that too. So when we think about being at the show, right? We talked about some of the preferences or the preparation to go and thinking about like where are we going to be and how we get to the sessions we want to get to and how to make the most of that. I mean, if you're a company, because we have some companies listening here, as we said earlier, like Gather and Yondo, and I see Peter from InnoScale as well, from Europe. Thanks for tuning in, Peter. And if we think about those things, I mean, how do you kind of make the most of your presence at Manifest, right? I mean, it's one thing to have a session maybe that you're a part of, and then a booth as well. But how do you make that even bigger? Like, how do you capitalize on like these 3 days of everybody converging in one place?
I mean, as an attendee, it's getting that face time with the people that you really want to get in front of. So the ones that you're already working with, but then your wish list. Like, look at your wish list. I guarantee a majority of those companies will be at Manifest. So I always tell people, come prepared, have your pitch down.
Hmm.
Have it down and even have a few questions prepared in your pocket just to be able to ask those people when you are in front of them, or if you go over to them after a session. So for any of the sessions, if it sparked a lot of interest or excitement, or you want to work with them, go over and don't be shy. Like, go speak to the speaker, go talk to the speakers after. They expect it, they want to talk to you, and they're excited to. I mean, as you mentioned, what's really nice about our community, it really is a community. Like, people
Hmm.
do want to talk to you, they do want to know what's going on, and they have those questions. So coming prepared is my biggest recommendation, is coming prepared, and then coming up with a plan for follow-up after. So once you meet someone, I mean, for those of you that have not been to the show, our badges are really unique, and they have like a little tile on them. So
Yeah.
you can, tap to share, and it'll share your information and, remind you to follow up with folks. So everything that we do, everything that we think about for Manifest is, how can we help you continue those conversations and expand those business opportunities after the show? So it starts at Manifest. We want it to continue, and we'll do whatever we can to help it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a great way to kind of kick off the conference season, right? In the beginning of February there, February 9th to 11th is when it's happening in 2026. And it's kind of like the kickoff for me, at least for the trade show season and all those things. It's great to do that and also, see how you're facilitating that. So I have to ask you, Pam, personally, what's your favorite part of Manifest?
I mean, it's seeing it all come to life, right? Like, my team and I
Mm,
work on this all year round. I mean, the minute it ends, I'm planning the next one, and I'm already starting to think about the next one. So, for me, I think it's being present and being able to see everything come to life, see the expo floor really, like, I mean, when you first walk in, it's nothing. Like, it's just a blank space, like a warehouse. So to see it really become an entire living organism, and then filled with all these incredible, brilliant people, from my perspective, is just one of the coolest things to be able to see. And then
mm.
personally, I love the opportunity that I actually get to see so many people in person.
Yeah.
I live in Zoom or on my phone, so I talk to I talk to people that will be at the show all year round, and it's nice to get that in person. Just, I mean, even just to like give a hug, give a high five, like, it's a nice feeling to be able to have that connectivity. Like, it's real. It's not just we have this online talk relationship. So,
Yes. Yeah.
and also to see the things that come from it. There are so many investments that are made at Manifest, or because of, companies meeting at Manifest. So getting to hear some of those stories, as well as new customers and clients that are unfolding from the show. Like, Gather is a great example. Hi, guys. They're working with a number of folks that they met at Manifest, and it's exciting to be able to see those collaborations like come to life.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's really, really great to hear because I mean, it is such a culmination of so many things coming together, like you said, and it's one thing I think to see it just like okay, we're live and the doors are open, right? But then it's like another thing to see like kind of all these dividends coming out of it. Like you said, like companies getting investment and companies getting customers and customers improving their supply chains and all those takeaways. And I can imagine it's incredibly rewarding to be a part of that. So great to hear from your perspective that there. And oh, as the I got my manifest T-shirt on here. So
Yes.
there we go. So are you gonna have the swag store again? You
Yes,
gonna
of
have that?
course.
Yeah? Tell us about that.
Oh, well, I haven't seen anything yet, so it'll be a
Okay.
surprise for both of us.
Yes, yeah. So I
I'm in prep call mode. So we actually do prep calls with all of the sessions for Manifest. When it comes to content, it is a unique process. So it's a collaborative process amongst thought leaders. So that it's really more engaging. So I'm on Zoom having these conversations every day, all the time.
yeah.
So everything on the floor, or at least the swag, will be a surprise for me to see as well.
Okay. All right, great. And I know when I got this one, I think it was there was like a contribution to a non profit, which I think is a great mission as well to be able to have that as part of it. So so yeah, if you want your manifest swag, make sure you go and check that out too as well. So so really great to have you on here. And as we kind of close out this conversation, if anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments here to get those answered. But I would say if someone is on the fence, right, for manifest, what would you say to them? How would you convince them like this is the show to go to?
I mean, being on the fence isn't comfortable. So make a decision, come to manifest. I think, again, if you are in the process of moving goods, investing in it, and creating it, you need to be at the show. All of your
Mhm.
partners and investors will be there. The FOMO is real. So for those of you that have
It is.
missed it in years past, they've done everything in their power to make sure that they got to the next one, because there's just so many things that happen that you just can't afford to miss. Like, it's one of the events that I personally would say, like, you, as a company, as a business, as a person, you can't afford to miss it because it's got so many incredible ways that it will impact your life.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the FOMO statement like is huge. Like I feel like every time I go to manifest and after I have like at least a handful of people that are like, ah, I should have went, right? Like I should have went. I'm just like, well, why didn't you go? You you
Like,
should have went, right?
you
Yeah.
should have
So
gone. You should have
yes.
gone. So you definitely should go. And I would say, if you're able to, bring more than one person from your team. I think
Mhm.
manifest to make the most out of the show is really to be able to divide and conquer. We have so much content that's incredibly engaging and interesting and applicable. So things that you'll be able to take back to your business and apply right away. You have the floor, and all seeing all the different technologies, our innovation stage, which has presentations by new companies every 8 minutes, and our cold chain pavilion. So there's a lot of ground to cover. And I think the companies that really walk away with the most success from the show are ones that come in with a plan and divide and conquer.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's such a great idea to have that plan and come out and don't be the one with FOMO, I will say. And if you want to bring more than one of your team, we have discounted tickets for the new warehouse audience. So I just threw that link in the comments as well, so people can find that. But as we get closer to the show, right, the price only goes up, right? So the longer you wait, the more you debate, the more you sit on that fence, a little more expensive it's going to get. So make sure you get those tickets before the new year here, and make sure you're getting out there to manifest and going to join us in Vegas, February 9th to 11th, and we're definitely looking forward to it here at the new warehouse and being on site. We will have a booth there as well, and we'll be doing some podcasting live streams from there. So we'll have all the content as well. So so there's even more content to digest after you get home from Manifest as well to be able to do that. And then and tell us too about the before we close out here, the the ending party, right? This is always a big deal. So tell us a little bit about it. You told us who the performer is going to be, but tell us what is that all about? And it's kind of the culmination of everybody's energy on the last day, right? So tell us about it.
It's always a great time to get together and celebrate after 3 days of, networking and deal signing and exploring and experiencing all the technology. It'll be Tayo Cruz performing, and it'll be at Brooklyn Bowl. We've had a variety of performers in the past, including Flo Rida, Nelly, Ludacris, Neo, and it's just it's a great way to close out, such a productive, fun time in Vegas with all of your friends in the industry.
Absolutely. And what's Vegas without a party, right? So for sure. So everybody from all around the supply chain world, make sure you join us at Manifest February 9th to 11th in 2026 at the Venetian. And we do have your discounted tickets for you with that link in the comments as well. So Pam, thank you so much for joining me today to tell us everything we need to know about Manifest in 2026. And thanks to those who tuned in as well. And I hope to see everybody there in Vegas. So, Pam, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me. We'll look forward to seeing you in Vegas in a few short weeks.
Yes, get there.